Orientation is locked. Rotate device back. Okay, just... Guys, hold on. I want to make sure that it actually is rotated right, or else I'm going to look like a moron.
We won't look good.
Wait, what did I do? Okay, well, that's not... I don't want it to look like that. Okay. Operation... Rotate device back. Guys, we can do this.
Now, but now you only see me. There you go. Now.
How does that look?
That looks good. I mean, your chair is probably just sneaking in there. You could probably scoot it that way a little bit.
Okay, I'll scoot it back when you talk. Cool?
Yeah, you're good right there. That's solid right there.
Okay, guys. It's been so long, makes me forget the way you used to kiss my neck.
Yeah, this guy says get it together, dude.
Hey, okay, so we're gonna get back to doing these. Obviously, you can tell we're trying something new here, a new setup.
New phone?
Yeah, Andrew's sitting in front of me, so he looks a lot bigger than me.
I am bigger than he is.
It's true.
I've been putting on some.
Putting on some mass. Okay, so we're done with the Open, right? We just finished the Open last week, and we figured that we wanted to do a quick video on what now. Like, now what? It can be actually worded both ways. What now or now what?
Whichever you prefer.
So what we're gonna do is pretty much talk about like what now, like what am I gonna be doing now going forward into the season? We're gonna be talking about sanctionals. We're gonna be talking about the next 4 to 5 months. We're gonna talk about my knee, and then we're gonna get into what training will look like, and then any and all questions you ask, which I'm looking at my computer right now, we'll hit them up at the end. I'll go through some of them when he's yakking, and then we'll talk about them at the end. Cool?
Yeah, just yell at me to shut up if I go into scientific stuff, and he's like, "Yo, bro,
too much."
Lost you.
All right, so obviously Open's done. Pending unofficial results and them going through some of my videos and whatever. I'm at 4th, so we'll see if that changes at all. Woohoo! Qualified.
Goal accomplished.
There you go. Qualified. And so the last workout, I think I hurt my knee a couple of weeks ago, and it was kind of swollen a little bit. Not as bad as it was like 2 years ago, but I couldn't squat very well. It was painful. I was able to lunge, thankfully, and able to do burpees over a bar for 19.4, or yeah, 19.4, thankfully. We didn't have to squat a lot of weight in 19.5. We just had to squat a lot of times. And so that was
it's 105 reps on the old knee there.
So I pretty much, I think I warmed up and hit like 10 squats, and I was like, we're doing this once because my knee can't take this a second time. So we gave it one shot. I think when we did 19.5, I hadn't squatted, like legitimately squatted at all in 2 weeks.
But you guys have.
And so, 2 weeks leading up to 19.5. And let's just say in the middle of 19.5, like around the round of 20 months, my quads were cramping. I was like, holy crud. My legs are like, Jacob, what is this new movement you're doing to me?
And you're still 2 minutes faster than I was.
And so anyways, there was no chance of trying it again. Kudos to you guys. Like Travis Smear did it 3 times. You're my hero. You're my absolute hero, because I wasn't doing it. So anyways, Open's done. We gave the knee a little bit of a rest. I've started squatting very, very light. And so I'm hoping, I think I take 2 days off, took yesterday off, took today off. And so tomorrow I'm hoping to come back and we can actually squat with some weight. I'm going to PR so many lifts. I'm going to hit 135 like a boss for a back squat.
It'll be heavy.
I'll probably fail it. And so we're going to start back lifting tomorrow. It's going to be fun. I'm excited for it this season. And then in terms of sanctionals, right? So my knee will affect what I want to do for sanctionals. And so the first one coming up is Mid-Atlantic CrossFit Challenge. And so we're going to play it by ear and see how I feel tomorrow in the next couple days, and then play that one by ear. The next one I'm slated to go to would possibly be, crap, man, what's the next one? I think it's Brazil.
Brazil.
I think it's Brazil.
The BCC.
The BCC.
And then Granite.
Not to be confused with the BBC, which is the British Broadcasting Company.
Yeah, don't do that.
Boom. And then I think the next one would be...
Did you say Reykjavik already? Did you say
No, Iceland's in the middle of May, I think.
Okay.
And then
Granite Games is
no, Asia.
Asia.
So I got 4 slated to go to. We will see which ones I'll go to. It's dependent upon my knee. And that's pretty much just what I kind of wanted to say. And so now what we're going to get into, and I'm going to look through some of the questions. He's pretty much going to take it. He, being Andrew, is going to take it from here. And Andrew's going to go through kind of a brief overlook of how my training will change from pretty much open prep. Like, obviously prepping for the open, I'm not running outside that much. I'm not swimming, you know.
Not yet.
Well, I was like open prep stuff. Like prepping for the open, I wasn't swimming. You know, I wasn't doing really super high skill because you're not going to see pistols in the open or anything like that. I don't, you know, anyways. And so he's going to go through what the training will look like going forward, leading up to the games. And so on that note, I give it to Andrew. So Andrew's going to be talking about that, and I'm pretty much just going to look through questions, and I'll pause you sometimes. We'll go through some of the questions. So I'm going to fix the camera. You can move your seat if you want to. I'm going to fix the camera so you're in view, and you're going to take it. Let me fix it first. Give us a sec. And there's Andrew. Oh, almost lost the camera.
Almost lost it. Yeah, I think I see myself too, make sure.
Okay, wow. Dude, this camera is really hard, guys. Okay.
Alright, so guys at home, we are post-open. So, open is over. You guys are all wondering, where is Jacob going from here? And then where that kind of then says, where are you guys going from here? Leading into next week, I think this is an appropriate time to start some testing. It's just going to be built into the program. You're going to kind of see this. We're going to test a few lifts, test a few strength lifts, a few power lifts, a few monostructural aerobic stuff. We're going to test some skill stuff just to see and have a baseline moving forward. So when I test aerobic stuff, I can say, okay, here's Jake's mile time. So when we start working on improving that mile time, I need to know what kind of pacing he can have and things like that. So that's going to move forward for him as far as next week, leading into next week. Obviously with his knee too, that'll affect how much he does versus how much I put in for you guys. So, but you guys can look forward to the testing as well as him, and we're going to go from there and use those as baselines. And I've had a lot of you guys reach out to me and be like, hey, I've already hit my 1 rep max for some of the positional work we've done or some of the other stuff that we've done, and you're like, I really want to test the 1 rep max snatch and see where it's at now. We're going to have that opportunity here next week to really kind of test it out and see where we're at, and then we can move on from there. Then moving forward from our test, we'll call it test week, but really it's just going to be built into what you guys have been doing. And like I said, Jake's going to move into basic hypertrophy phase a little bit. So we're going to he's going to be going on a little trip with his wife to Mexico for a weekend. It'll be a little fun time for him to kind of get some R&R. And when he comes back, we're looking at a possible 4 to, actually more than that, I'm sorry. We're looking at probably around 6 weeks of building in volume towards reps of 8 to 12 on some pulling work. And then anything like power stuff, we're going to keep high rep, like 5+ reps on that stuff. So you'll see a lot of volume work at low percentage, working on speed and technique. So we're going to kind of build that, and that's going to go with our strength stuff too. So you'll still see a lot of the same kind of movements. You're going to see the intensity drop on the loading and go up in volume a little bit more. And we're going to go back to the basics for about 6 weeks just to kind of get some more muscle on them a little bit. We're going to kind of get those the basic skills that we've been working on. After those 6 weeks, we're going to work into more of a basic strength program, which will probably last probably 4 to another 6 weeks, depending on how he adapts to the first part. And again, we're going to then drop some of the reps on our movement and increase the loading on those movements. I still like doing a positional day for the power stuff. I call it positional day. And then more of a full day to develop, the full lift and give him an opportunity to lift heavy. One of the goals for Jacob that we talked about today is increasing his minimums on his lifts. When we look at kind of in the past and moving forward, where Jacob has struggled is definitely the 1 rep max lifts, right? So for him right now, looking at how much time I have before the games, we want to get more consistent at higher percentages, and I want to increase his minimum on the lifts, minimums on the lifts. So when he comes into the gym and I have him snatch at certain percentages or whatever it is, or I have him snatch to maybe it's a heavy for the day, it's always above what he's used to hitting. So maybe he's used to hitting 235, consistently. I want him to now think that number is no longer there, and his new relevant number is 240, 245, and that's like a bad day. He can hit that no problem. So we're going to increase those minimums a little bit, so that helps him out a little bit. We're also going to go into a basic power phase that'll couple it with that basic strength, and that'll lead into more of a peak power and peak strength phase, which will then again will drop the reps even more, increase the loading again. Throughout these phases, which will last weeks, obviously anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, which you guys will see some repetition and stuff, but we're also going to increase our skill levels on stuff. We said we're going to start basic and then broaden again on the skill set. So some of you guys that's been with us for a while, you've been seeing the forward rolls to support on some practice work, which you love a lot, right?
Yeah, I can't get a forward roll support, in case you guys are wondering.
So we've been working on some higher level gymnastics. If you guys have been with us for a while, you know we love the handstand walk obstacle, right? That's something that introduced into CrossFit, and it's just been at pretty much everything since they introduced it. I feel like every sanctional event and everything. So that's one that we've been doing. And what you see is we're going to develop the skill first. We're going to then get good at that skill, and then we're going to add in some stimulus to that skill. And what I mean by that is, can I do that skill when I'm tired or when I'm under duress, or when there's a high stress on me? Can I get off a runner of sprinting 200 meters and go do my handstand walk obstacle right away without even thinking about it, right? That kind of stuff. And that's going to all develop in as we go. Also with Jacob, as we move forward, you're going to see him with a little bit more monostructural side of it. He is a notoriously good biker, but not a great rower.
If you guys will know, if you guys go back to the open and look at my 19.1, you might think to yourself,
what happened?
What were you doing?
What happened? So for him, he doesn't like the row as much. So we're going to, again, get him on the rower quite a bit. So if you guys follow along with his stuff, you'll see that quite a bit as well. Along with now introducing, as we get closer to the games, more games-like stuff. I call it more like odd object stuff. Yokes, which we already use quite a bit of. I love using the yokes with him. But D-balls, paddleboarding, swimming, that kind of stuff, where we incorporate that into workouts and metcons and that are more games-ish style. So that's all going to play into the fact moving towards the end of July. So that's kind of like the broadish way I can give that to you guys. So we're going to test a little bit. We're going to move into some hypertrophy, which we're just going to build some muscle on, put some muscle on higher volume. And it's a good way to come off of testing and reintroduce weights again, too, at lower percentages. You guys can really work on positional. I'm huge on movement and how he moves and how he looks. I really put a lot of pressure on him to look good when he moves and how he lifts things, so we're not just slinging stuff and it looks crappy. And then we plateau, honestly. We plateau really quick, which is why you guys see the exercises change quite a bit, too, even though the stimulus or what I'm trying to target is kind of the same, right? But I like to change the exercises up just to give him a little variation too, to his day. So, and you're gonna still see isometric work, like some of the wall sit stuff. I love doing the handstand hold stuff into the pressing work, all that kind of stuff.
So hold on, pause on the isometric.
Yeah.
What's the reasoning behind isometric holds? Like, is it for so this is a question for my guy. What's the reason behind all the isometric holds you had Jacob doing a few months ago? Was it for different strength stimulus or to address a positional weakness or something else?
Two things I like to do that for. One is positional style, and if you'll notice too, he's got a very good overhead position. If you were ever to come to our gym and watch him versus maybe like Jake Flowen, not a great position overhead, so that's really benefiting him too. But what I can do for Jake is now stress his overhead position with the overhead hold, which he might be good at, and then ask him to do something like handstand walk, right? How many of you guys struggled how many of you guys got through the handstand push-ups in that open workout, but then struggled to walk because you felt like your arms were noodles, right? Like, that's a great example. Like, you were upside down holding isometrically at the lockout of your handstand push-ups for 50 reps, and now I have to do a handstand walk. Well, how can I train that? This is a great example. If my shoulders can take that endurance and take that stress, I'm going to be a better athlete when that comes around, right? That's just simple fact. If I can practice that, I'm going to get better at it. So I use that a lot for that. Same with wall sit. When I start to feel in a thruster workout where there's 27 on my second round, but I'm used to that burn and being able to squat it out because we've done 2 minutes of wall sit holds and into some squats, I can push a little harder and a little further than maybe somebody else then.
Sure.
Right?
Good question.
So yeah, it's a great question. But that's how we try to train through some of that stuff, and so far it's worked. So
Okay, what do you think about heavy goblets? So we're just going to kind of get some random questions. You can pull up Steve if you want to. Let me change the camera so I'm not halfway in, halfway out. So what do you think about heavy goblet squats? Do they work, and why do you think they work?
Oh, they work. Okay, love heavy goblet squats. If you want to really focus on how you squat and how strong your core really is, do a couple of heavy goblet squat sets, and I think you can attest to that as to.
Yeah, I remember the first time we started it. I think the first time we started with like a 96-pound kettlebell, which is still pretty heavy. I'm lucky we even had it. I remember Jake told us, well, Jake did the same thing I did. I wasn't as bad as Jake, but Jake went home that day. Jake Flowing, not me. Went home that day and he said he had a cramp and he almost passed out on the way home. He drives a manual.
At a stoplight.
Yeah, a stoplight. He had to push the clutch in. He said he almost passed out. He was in so much pain.
Yeah, I've been using goblet squats with not only CrossFit athletes but regular athletes for a long time now, and it's been something that I think is very beneficial, not just from going into a barbell front squat, but just overall leg strength and positional strength on your squat, and then obviously midline and core. I think it's huge, and you will not see that go away. You might see a new style or variation for me coming up where we use it a little bit differently than what we have been. But
in terms of front squat, like when you put a front squat on you, like the bar it's on a bar right in front of you. It's sitting on your chest, right? And so when you look at the center of mass, if you kick the bar out, like some of the weight's behind you because the bar is circular. You know, some of the weight, not I'm saying the center of mass is. But when you get a kettlebell and put it in your front rack, like it's all in front of you. Like there's no weight behind you. It's all in front. And you have to sit so upright in your squat. I remember when we started goblet squats, like I remember within like 3 weeks, I felt the difference in my front squats because I was like, oh man, this front squat, maybe not necessarily like leg strength, but like I wasn't collapsing and mashed potatoing in my front squats more because I was like, oh man, this is so much easier to hold up in a front squat because I got used to having a kettlebell.
And then I put time under tension on too, right? So like I put him more under loading for longer periods of time, develop strength that way, and then you PR your front squat within.
Yeah, in like 4 weeks.
Yeah, 4 weeks.
So. Haven't hit that weight since, partially because we're in the middle of the open, or we're done now, but whatever. Okay, back to more questions. So guys, we're done talking about kind of like a now what concept. So if you guys are watching in, feel free to put any and all questions in the chat, and I will definitely get to them. I'm obviously the moderator, as you can tell, and obviously we're all here to talk to Andrew and ask Andrew questions. Okay, what are your thoughts, Andrew, on gaining strength while maintaining a large aerobic capacity?
My thoughts. I think you can do it, but you have to be smart about it. Obviously, how much aerobic stuff you do will depend and impact your strength output, right? Like, here's a great example. When we first started, our goal was, I'm going to make you PR your snatch, PR your clean, PR your front squat.
Well, the goal was to snatch 280 by December 31st.
That was, but so we still have to do a lot of work, right? We didn't touch a lot of aerobic stuff. Like, our night sessions really didn't have anything to it, and our morning sessions, really the Metcon was shorter. It wasn't super long.
It was always like push a sled or a deadlift heavy.
And it wasn't like aggressive, and that gave us an opportunity to work on strength. Strength takes time in my eyes. It takes time to build strength. It takes time to build power. Aerobic stuff is a lot easier to gain and a lot quicker to come with. So when you talk about doing it together, there might be a give and take there for a little bit. Whereas you might start to build strength to a certain level, and now at that point I feel comfortable with it. Can I maintain that as I try to build my aerobic? But I might lose a little bit. You know, you gotta have to take the good with the bad a little bit on that.
Yeah, okay, good question. How far do you program specifically? Like, how far do you program for me? Like, you obviously probably sometimes might program the Metcons a week out, but your cycles.
Yeah, like I have him programmed ready to go for the games pretty much. We talked already today about what my plan was moving forward, and we already have a plan going into July.
Yeah, so kind of what we talked about today.
Yeah, pretty much what we talked about today. So some of the exercises might change and some of the stuff in the cycles might change based on, I'm big on adaptation. So I always talk to my athletes, like Jacob is a great example, and I say, hey, we've been doing this for 4 weeks. 1, did you like it? 2,
no.
Did it work, right? There's stuff that we've done that at the end of it, he was like, yeah, I really didn't think that it helped me out. Great, I'm not going to use it because it didn't work for him, right? It's not something that works. Like a lot of heavy snatches from the blocks, I don't really need to put him on the blocks because he can snatch more from the blocks than he can on the floor. So I don't need to really like push his positional stuff from blocks. We can work more on floor stuff, deficit stuff, that kind of stuff that might impact him a little bit better. So that's a great example of you know, I have stuff written for him or programmed for him or ideas for him that might change based on what he gains or doesn't gain in the time frame I think he should.
Yeah, good answer. Okay, I actually didn't. I say good answer, but I was actually not listening to you. So you probably could have bullcrapped.
I could have just. I should try that sometime.
Okay, Dimitri, what are your thoughts on fasted cardio for performance? I have no idea what fasted cardio means, Dimitri, but it sounds like you're not eating. So my response is terrible.
Fasted cardio for performance. Yeah, I think that is a subject that a lot of trainers and strength coaches probably go over and back and forth. I think it depends on the individual. Honestly, I don't see how, you know, are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to lose body fat? Are you just doing it out of, you know, I mean, honestly, I like my athletes to have the right fuel to be able to get the intensity out of a workout. I don't want them to come in and feel drained.
Sweet potato fries. It's a secret, guys.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of great athletes that do intermittent fasting. Like, that's a great example, and they have to work out without eating, and some of them do really well. And then I've had other friends that like have messaged me and been like, man, this is not working for me because I come in and I feel weaker. I don't feel like I can achieve what I need to achieve in the gym. So and like I think the most popular diet right now is like RP, and I don't think they do intermittent fasting. But
actually, the most popular diet right now is whatever Jillian Michaels is preaching.
Hot Cheetos and Coca-Cola.
Well, I don't think Jillian Michaels is preaching.
That's fine.
I'm preaching that.
You preach that.
Yeah, I preach that. Okay, Laura, you've mentioned in previous videos that you train the 2 CrossFit teen girls. Well, that's him, not me, but yes. Do you regularly coach CrossFit, if at all? If not, are you interested in coaching? Laura, no. No, I don't have any interest in coaching. I never really have. I enjoy leading groups. Let me clarify. I enjoy having groups of guys and girls that are of an upper level to come work out, and I enjoy leading them through workouts and working out with them. And I've done that in seminars in the past. But do I enjoy coaching someone on how to snatch? No, because I'm terrible at it. Do I have my level 1? Absolutely. That doesn't mean I'm good at coaching, and we all know that's true. No, it's actually my level 1's expired. But Andrew obviously enjoys coaching, and that's his forte, and that's what he loves. God bless him. Someone has to love it.
Someone's got to do it.
Someone's got
Those that can't do, teach.
Hope that answers your question. That's a great question. Okay, how far along do you plan Jacob's training? Right, obviously, we already talked about that. The Greg fish. I don't know your name. I'm going to say this Greg. When this video is done, go back and watch through. He talks about it. We've already planned to watch it. What about training at altitude before the games? So, I didn't tell you this, but yesterday I was talking on the phone to Hunter McIntyre, who's in Boulder, Colorado, which is 5,300 feet above sea level, so a little above a mile, barely above a mile. And he was like, hey, if you want to come up here before the games, you're more welcome to come stay with me for a mile above sea level, but I think it requires up to 4 weeks.
You need an adaptation phase, yeah. You need a time period to actually get something out of it. If you're there for a week, I don't think it would matter.
Yeah, so I think it requires me to be there for 4 weeks and then pretty much to travel from there straight to the games.
Yeah.
So, like...
I don't know if it would, how much it would really benefit you.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah, unless we went for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Which, Hunter, are you going to put me up for 4 weeks?
And me too.
And him too? Are you going to feed us, love us? Okay, moving forward.
I see all that protein you get, so don't lie to me.
Okay, I write cardio loads for my box to increase aerobic capacity. Would you recommend short, multiple 10-minute metcons, so smaller but more multiples, or a 35-minute chipper style workout?
Both. I write the programming for our gym here, and I incorporate a multitude of different energy systems when I write workouts. So we do a lot of interval, we do a lot of long aerobic stuff, we do a lot of medium, mid-range 10 to 12 minuters. I think if you want to develop the complete athlete in your gym and you want to make sure that your general population is getting everything that you could possibly get it to them, you're going to want to hit all 3 of those in your week if you could. And that's what I do here, is making sure that the people that come, which the majority of my class members come 5 times a week, they're even given a recovery day, if you will, on Thursdays, which was today. They get a basically a non-weighted aerobic piece that they can work on that lasts over 24 minutes every week. And that's their long one with no weight into it. I try to incorporate all styles of workouts to hit all energy systems.
Good stuff. I mean, that's pretty much what CrossFit does, is you should be hitting everything. If you only work on 2-minute workouts, if you get Murph, you're gonna blow. And if you only do Murph and you have to do Fran, you're gonna blow.
I mean, you can probably test that. Like, I mean, you were always never the one that liked sprint workouts, right? Like,
I still hate sprint workouts.
I mean, still, but you're better at them.
I'm better at them because you made me do.
So, like, you know, that's a great example. You have to train in the system that you're not good at.
If you're not good at it, you better do it. Every night when I go home, my wife will ask me, "What'd you improve at today?" If I go back and tell her, "Well, today I did a lot of pull-ups and I got better at them," she'll laugh at me because I didn't improve my snatch.
Truth.
Or my clean and jerk.
Truth.
Or my forward roll support. I digress. Okay, I started CrossFit like 4 months ago. I'm competitive, and I hate not being able to do every movement. How much do you guys train? How long did it take you guys to get where you are?
I'll let you do for that.
I've been doing CrossFit since 2013. You've been doing CrossFit since before the dawn of time.
1987.
No, but seriously, how when did you start? 12? 11 or 12? Yeah. So he's been doing it 2 years longer than me. So
Late 11? Yeah.
it doesn't come overnight. And it takes a lot of time to do everything. Like, I remember the story I usually tell when it comes to this is one of the main movements that people struggle learning is double unders. That's like the biggest hurdle. Like, if you can do double unders, use a boss. And so I remember literally locking myself in a YMCA room and telling me I couldn't leave until I got 20 unbroken double unders. It took me 3 hours. But I got those double unders. And I treated myself to ice cream.
What his legs look like after that. I think it's just like anything else. I mean, you got to look at, if you want to, you know, be a high-level athlete in the sport, it's just like any other sport. You gotta put the time in and take the dues with it a little bit. Like, you're not gonna make the NFL tomorrow, right? Those guys have been fine-tuning their craft. Like, linemen just work on and stuff. And you were football, right? You can tell me that, right? Like,
It was terrible at football.
They just work on that craft the entire time to get to where they are. And the same thing here.
The best part is the NFL is usually, I would say, 70% genetic. I mean, I'm short. I'm probably not going to be great at the NFL. Granted, there are statistical
You
outliers.
better just be better at other things.
Okay, so, Andrew, do you plan on programming any of the old games workouts in this game season? Sure, why not? Like, you have times...
Not only will I program the old workouts, I'll make them harder.
Oh, okay, bite me. Moving on, dumb question. Okay, what would you recommend for a cardio machine at home gym? Echo air bike or a rower? I would say a rower.
I would say a rower because you will see that more often than an echo row bike.
Okay. And if you're in a garage gym, you can flip the rower on top of itself, and it takes up less surface area than an echo bike.
Truth. And if you're talking just straight open prep, you will not. You won't see a bike like that in the open. And if you want to get it good at the open, get good at a rower.
How many years has Aerosol Bike sponsored a workout for the open?
Since the dawn of man.
And how many times have you seen an Aerosol Bike in the open? You'll never see it.
Yeah.
They're just way too different. Alright. How often do you do swimming? I don't know. For you guys that put I don't know your guys' names. You're just CF Yogi, CrossFit Yogi. How often do you do swimming workouts? So, honestly, during this past couple weeks, I've actually swam quite often because my knee's been bothering me, and it's something that takes stress off my knee.
We subbed it out for the stuff that you guys were doing.
Yeah, so some of you got on Midwest-made programming. I was doing a lot of swimming instead. When we're prepping for the games, I will be swimming more. I'll let you speak on when I'm done. But, like, from my perspective, what usually happens, especially in past years, it was when guys qualify to the games regionals, they start swimming an enormous amount to prep for one workout. It's like, like if I qualified to the games, I wouldn't start 1 rep max snatching every single day to prep for 1 rep max snatch. Like, it's not that important.
It becomes too much percentage of their training for such a small piece of the games. And I told him too, we were talking about this actually, I think this was like a month ago we were talking about this, is like, let's say you put all that time and effort into the swim and neglect other stuff, only to move up one place for 5 points in one workout, when other stuff would have gained you so much more in like 7 workouts.
Sure.
Right?
Now, it just comes down to, you could still work on your aerobic capacity that will carry over to other workouts by swimming. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But like, if you're spending so much time focusing on skill and technique in the pool when maybe it could be better spent working someplace else, that's really the push and pull of our sport. Like, we aren't linemen in the NFL where we can only just practice lineman drills or something related to that. There's still more stuff to it. When you get what I'm saying, where we're so one-sided and focused on something. Whereas in this sport, we have to really focus on everything.
Lots and lots of stuff.
This week on Tuesday, I'm practicing underwater basket weaving. Okay, how fast can I weave a basket?
I'm actually gonna drop Jacob off in a woods somewhere with a map with like nothing on it, and he's gotta find his way home.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if there was like something, craft stuff. You never know. All right, moving on, guys. Still going to a sanctional. Go back and watch the beginning of the video. I discussed it. That was in our now what discussion. Boom. Gotcha. Moving forward. Back to the one. What's your favorite top ice cream? Candy bar.
They just came out with 3 new flavors, and I'm excited to try them. They're like hazelnut.
Halo Top, if you want to sponsor this video, send us.
Whatever.
No, hazelnut?
I don't know the other 2 flavors, but they look legit.
Blueberry crumble?
Yeah, whatever. All the new flavors.
All the new flavors. How fast do you answer the question? Anthony, what's your best 5K time? I have a great answer for that. You're going to be impressed, Anthony. My best 5K time I've ever in my life, and I crap you not, this is a true story.
Run from the cops.
No. That was a good guess, though. That was a great guess. Okay. I was in Botswana in the summertime, which is their winter time, going hunting. For all you guys who hate that, I don't care. We were hunting in Botswana in Africa, and I decided to. Some of the guys were at, and so I was like, "Oh, it's like a mile and a half to that camp. I'll just run to that camp down the road. It's like a mile and a half." So I ran there. As fast as I could, I decided to test my mile and a half time to get there. I had a stopwatch. I ran this. So what do?
You run back.
You run back. And it's getting dark. And so what do?
In Botswana.
You run as fast as you can.
I'd rather row because I always blister my feet in the run and then I start swearing. We don't want that.
Joseph name up badly. Grenade Wallace. What do you think about the new format of the game's going to be? How the elimination round is going to work? It's a good question.
Let's start with how many athletes are elimination?
There's going to be eliminations. To be honest with you, or someone from, someplace far away, Botswana, someplace from China, shows up because they're the national champion of their country. Awesome. We're glad to have you. And they show up and they get eliminated day one. That would suck. Like, you just spent how many to get over here, hotel, food, yada yada yada. She show up and then have to be sent home the next day.
Yeah,
that would really stink.
I think it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
how they do that.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, good question. Thoughts on drug testing hundreds of people worldwide?
Good question.
I have no idea.
There ain't none.
Like, if we're being honest, Pat, because I'm gonna tell you honestly, like if a guy's a national champion out of Yugoslavia or Czechoslovakia or Czech Republic, whatever it is now, all the Czechs, like, and maybe they're 200 from the world. I don't know what the lowest placement national champion. But let's say that's it. Like, do we really need to test them that low down? That's kind of really blunt and really.
You will actually had them start testing on the assault runner last week a little bit, and then we are obviously going to use that to increase his pacing and increase his times, or actually decrease his times, increase the distance he can run in that time.
Hey, go partner. You're welcome to leave the stream and go someplace else. I don't really care. Moving forward. Speed is bugging a lot. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it is stormy here, so we might actually have lost the feed. That's okay. Like that, kind of talking about what we're up to, what we're doing.